Are your kitchen and bathroom way overdue for a remodel? Well, I got the guy for you. Call John Sellers at First Response Contracting, 484-256-7136. Both residential and commercial services, and he's licensed and insured. Call him at 484-256-7136. First Response Contracting. Hello, this is Brad Weisman. You're listening to Real Estate and You, where each time we try to bring up some topics or bring some people in to talk about anything to do with real estate, really. And sometimes we go off on tangents that have nothing to do with real estate, and that's fine too. So I have this is a really exciting guest for me because, I'll get into the story a little bit once I introduce him, but this is going to be John Clidy. He is the Regional Director for the KW Greater PA region, and just happens to be somebody that I talk to a lot and see a lot, and I wanted to bring him in because he wrote a book and I wanted to chat about it. So here we go. John, are you on the line?
I am. How are you, Brad?
I'm doing great. It's a great day in real estate.
Oh, sure. This market's insane, my friend. Insane.
Yeah, it's funny. And everybody keeps saying, oh, you've seen a market like this before. And, I'm in this 28 years and I've never seen a market like this. This is definitely something that is just, it's different. I can't even explain it.
Yeah, I did like the market we had, in the 03, 4, 5, that market was pretty good too. But this is fun as well.
This is really fun. So I'm just going to back up a little bit and tell people how I know you, and kind of just a little interesting story is I would not be where I am right now at Keller Williams in a leadership and also investment position if it was not for John Clidy. John is the one that I met at a Starbucks probably about 3.5 years ago and convinced me that he actually believed more in me than I believed in me, that I could do this thing with Keller Williams. And I want to thank you for that, John.
No, you're welcome. And I tell you, part of our job, Brad, is when we find something we're really passionate about, is actually to do something about it. And how cool is it when you get incentivized to actually do what you're passionate about, which is, for me, is to consult people on that, to come and bring their business and their know-how to Keller Williams.
Yeah, and you do a great job of it because, like I said, you were able to push people to be the best they can be and do things they never thought they could do. So I give you credit, lots of credit for that.
Appreciate that.
So there's this thing that I've heard that you wrote a book, and I heard it's called Leaving Six Figures, and I've been reading about it. I haven't read the book, but I've been reading about it, and it's really, really interesting just reading about what the book is about. And maybe you can just tell me a little bit of why you wrote the book, or, what came to you to say, you know what, because this is a big deal. You don't just wake up and go, I'm going to write a book today. It just doesn't happen like that. At least I don't think it happened like that. But how did it happen?
I think I say something different every time someone asks me, the reason being because there's so many reasons behind it. The thing that my answer today is different than it was probably a month ago or a week ago when I was asked that question. And I would say today it's, I grew up, my dad had a 8th grade education. My mom just graduated high school.
Right.
And education wasn't a big deal in our household.
Okay.
And even when I went to college to play football, and grades were never really a focal point for me. I would say to say average student is probably saying too much.
Right.
But, I would say I was a good C+ student, and as I got older, I started to say, it's not that cool not to be smart and enriched and to know more, to have more knowledge. Because I really didn't read books a lot and didn't care. And for some reason, I had this passion later in life that, I want to write a book. I want to do something that challenges me. And then I think the other part, Brad, I kind of wanted to have a legacy. And I thought one day, someone told me the story that, how many people actually remember you when you die?
Yeah,
your grandkids' kids don't even know who you are.
So true.
Who your name is.
So true. Yep.
So I'm like, and I think Walton said it. Sam Walton said it. The owner of Walmart. He wrote that book to have a legacy.
Sure.
So I also thought one day that my kids and my kids' kids could know who Grandpa was. Or, great Grandpa. So that was kind of the reason behind it. And,
that's cool.
I think it led to, you have to have a reason to tell the book too, right? Like what do people want to even, why would they want to listen? Right.
Right. Yeah. That is funny because you have a purpose. There's got to be that you had to sit down at a certain point and say, okay, this is the goal of this book. The goal is this.
Yeah. So that part came about. And the reason why I say I always have a different answer is because my mind's in a different place when I have that question. But I was a New Jersey State Trooper for 17 years. And, I was just, I had this job that everybody wanted. Supposedly everyone wanted, right? It was like, I think 10,000 people applied back when I did it in 95, I think, or 96. And, at the time only, a few hundred made it.
Yeah.
And, it was a prestigious job. It was a career, I guess, not even job. And it was, I think starting salary then was like 55,000 back in, the mid 90s. Yeah. That's, attorneys were making that.
I was going to say, that's really good money. Well, state troopers always made good money from what I've heard, which is great.
And then I heard, they had great benefits.
Yeah.
And then there's this thing called the get out of jail free cards, and, you
I
can
like that
speed
one.
and you can get in front of lines and all this stuff. I'm like, this is really cool.
This is a great job.
Yeah. And then, then you actually got to go out and do it. You actually got to be a trooper or a police officer,
which is dangerous too. I mean, you guys they're front line. I mean, you're state troopers they're there. I mean, they're catching criminals and doing all kinds of stuff. So, that's a little scary.
Yeah. I mean, I was assigned in, major cities I was undercover. I always tell people, I sold drugs, and they're like, what? And I was like, I was undercover,
different, on the different side. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. I was on a different side of selling, but I've experienced everything, I've been in, I haven't been shot at, but I've been in the area when shots were fired, luckily I wasn't there, and, guns out and all that. So I've been around where, a knife was drawn on me, and I've been in fights and fought people on the roadway. So I did all that. And then all of a sudden, real early on as a young state trooper, I got my real estate license too, which I know this is a real estate show.
Now, how old do you think you were when you got your real? You probably know. You shouldn't think.
Yeah,
when was
that? 1999.
1999. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be 49 in a couple weeks. So
wow, that's okay. It's you've been in for a while, and see the thing.
20 years.
Yes. So here's the thing for me. Like, what's that turning point? Like, where you're like, when you were doing really well in real estate, from when I remember our conversations together, you did really well doing the dual career, and you probably could have kept doing that for a while and retired and had your pension and all these different things. What was that? How do you make that decision of all that comfort that was there of the state police job, comfort as far as pension and insurance and all those things, and then all of a sudden you decide, nope, I'm going all in real estate. What did that feel like?
Well, the one thing I will tell you, and I hate to I don't like to do the cliche Keller Williams changed my, people say, oh my God. Yeah. But I hate to say it. It's the truth, because it's the one company that forced me to challenge myself and to get my mindset around being a business owner. Because, Brad, there's a difference between a realtor and a business owner.
Absolutely.
95% of the realtors are self-employed. 5% of the real estate population are business owners.
Yeah.
So once I started to realize there was a business in real estate, probably 10 years into my state police world, I really said, you know what? There's a lot of money to be made in real estate.
Yeah.
And then comes the challenges. Now I'm hitting the clock to, I'm getting closer to, in 20 years, you can actually retire, 20 years, you can retire at 25 too, but you can do a 50% retirement in 20. So now I'm getting to a point where, I'm on the other side of, my tenure, and, and the job gets easier, meaning I understand what I need to do. And then I kind of understand the real estate. I was one of the most successful Century 21 agents in the country.
At the same time, while you're doing your state trooper thing, you were achieving at a very high level.
I remember in 2007, I was on the stage. I sold over 171 homes, and I was number 8 in America.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I sold a lot.
Yeah.
But then you got to think too, the mental capacity of doing that.
Yes.
And then I flipped homes, because I don't know if I'm sure you do. Then it was a craze, how you can put a sign up and it sells. So I wasn't stupid. I'd seen that craze and I jumped right on the bandwagon. So
Absolutely.
I was also investing. But, I know we like stories. The story that changed me was the one time I was at at work. I had $100,000 day.
Wow.
Meaning that I made $100,000 in one day in real estate.
And gross commissions. Yeah. Wow.
Well, commissions, and I flipped a house.
Okay. Got it. So you got some money from that plus
I flipped a house. So I had about $100 and some thousand in my pocket of checks. And that day I went to work to the state police. I was in the casino unit.
Yeah.
So I go to work and, everyone always broke my stones. Hey man, this real estate stuff stinks. Why are you doing it? It's just a waste of time.
Right.
And, you don't work overtime and, you need to stop doing it. And I'm like, and I heard it so many times. I mean, I'm talking like every time I had a conversation with someone at work, they were breaking my stones.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there and I had this little bad guy on my shoulder saying,
bring the checks out. I was just going to say, show them the checks. Show them the checks.
And then I had another guy on the other side saying, don't show them the checks, John. It's arrogant. That's not you, man. Don't do it. And they kept saying it. And I said, you know what? And then I forgot the guy that was there today. And there was like 2 or 3 guys around. I said, you know what? Is this a waste of time? And you could see, I just threw the checks at them. And you see them like counting. And I mean, there's a check for like 40-some thousand, 10, 9. Lovely. I had a bunch of, investor settlements and they were just looking at it. And you could just tell like that day kind of changed the whole thing for me because I got treated differently. It was almost like I probably blackballed myself.
Yeah, because so now they're actually, which is interesting because it's typical human nature. They get either jealous or they want to be you because now they're like, oh, big guy now making all this money. Why is he a state trooper? I can just see that. Absolutely.
Well, it went from, you're wasting your time to now, who the heck do you think you are?
Right, exactly.
And then from that point on, I was treated, it could have been in my mind, but for some reason I felt like an outcast.
But you know what? It's a good thing it did. It's a good thing it did go that way, right?
Yeah.
Because it might not have put you to do what you did, right? I mean, those feelings were actually, those emotions you were feeling, whether they were right or wrong, were what pushed you to do what you're doing today.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of tell it, throughout the book, but I tell that story that, that probably was one of that shifted my mindset. Like, I don't belong here anymore. And, you can only deal when you don't, you think about any community or church or anything in life, when you don't feel like you belong, it's easy to leave. Right.
Yeah.
And the more I felt outcasted was the closer I got to being okay with saying it's time to go.
Yeah. So that was a turning point there. And then you go and you leave. And then not only do you start, so you were at C21 at that time, right? You were at Century 21, I think, at the time when you did that changeover. Mm-hmm. And then obviously then you came into seeing how Keller Williams is. And how did that happen? How did you get into the Keller Williams point?
Being an entrepreneur like you, I mean, when I talk to you wanted more than just being a realtor, right?
Sure.
And I did too. And I had this itch because I was a really good recruiter. Like Century 21 had, splits that were not really like ours and it wasn't capped. So I was still convinced a whole lot of people to go there. It was, I don't want to say it was easy, but I felt when I believe in something, I can get people to believe in it too.
Yeah.
And I started not to believe in it anymore, and
right.
That's when I started to look around at other companies. And then when I found Keller Williams, I was like, is this real? Like I could have, I could recruit people and make half the money with the company. And if I'm really successful, I can own my own and I could do, I can own a couple title companies and I can own a bunch of market centers. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And then I said, what, I got to check this. This is not right. So I actually flew to Austin. Met at the time the CEO, Mark Willis, and, he was for real. He was a nice guy. He laid out everything. He went over kind of my, we have the assessments, the behavioral assessments, and went over mine. And I left there. I was like, this company's for me. And I joined in 2012.
Wow. And so from 2012 when you joined, and now you go from there on up to, obviously you were an agent, and then also, did you get right into, when you joined, did you go right into investing into the company?
Yeah. So I came in as a launching OP. So I had to, you have to, and I actually put it in the book too. You had to, there was a certain prescription you have to are benchmarks you have to hit to be approved, just like you guys did.
Oh, I know. We're very familiar with that.
Yeah, I had the same thing, but
yeah.
you had 3 partners. I had me.
Yeah, just you.
So when I did it at first, I launched, and I was I was still a state trooper. And,
yeah, right.
And I had all my kids. I had 2. Yeah, I had all 4 kids.
Oh my!
So
goodness.
I had my kids. My last one came out. The last 2 came out in 2010.
Talk about a full plate. Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. So yeah, I did. I started off at my team of 6, and then today we're at 310.
Yeah, awesome. That's amazing. Amazing story. So what out of the everything that you would with writing this book, okay? And it says dual career to full career was one of the things it says on here that I saw. And what would you give as advice for somebody that is struggling with going full-time in real estate or full-time in whatever they're doing or whatever their dream is? What's your advice, on that?
Yeah, I also spell out in the book that, no matter what you do, you have to plan, right? And the one thing I learned from my experience is I tell people, number one, you don't leave a job if you don't have money to leave, right? Like, and what's your plan? Especially if you have a family, you owe it to them to make smart decisions. So my first thing is do you, if you're unhappy, that's great. The question is, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So the good thing, most careers or most jobs, I mean, there's either downtime or, you have weekends and, you can get up earlier and you can, journal. You got to start figuring out what is it I'm going to do. And the good thing, I mean, for real estate, you can kind of test it out and play with it a little bit, depending on what you want to do, whatever it is. I don't know.
Yeah. And it's, so it's basically what you're saying is obviously you don't want to go into work the next day and say, I quit. You
have to have a plan.
Have a plan in place. Have some kind of a way of getting to where you want to be.
Yeah. And then the most important thing is you got a budget, just like, when you guys launched, if you remember, we said you need to have, you should have 3 months to 6 months of reserves. So same thing for a realtor, same thing for a business owner. You should have reserves. So if you're going to leave, have money ready to aside, for worst case scenarios.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
all that stuff was kind of pertinent for me to start saying, do I have enough money? What's my plan? What's the worst thing that could happen to me? All those questions need to be answered before you pull the plug.
Right. So obviously you're very happy that of the decision that you made back in was it 2012 or whatever. You're very happy about that decision because I know you're excelling in so many different ways. I know when it comes to I see you up on stage with Gary Keller. I see you on things that are much larger than the region, which is incredible. So you're being noticed. You're being you're just out there, which is great. And I just want to say I congratulate you on that because what you did as far as leaving that career to what you're doing now is just you're living a different life and you're changing other people's lives. And you said not to sound corny or whatever, but you are. I mean, you helped change my life for my family and what I do. And you've done that for Susan and for everybody else in here. So I appreciate that. And I thank you for that. One of the things real quick I want to do before I wrap this up, I want to talk just a little bit about the region that you are in charge of. What are you seeing from up high? Like we see our little markets and stuff. What are you seeing from up high? Where do you see it going in the next 6 to 12 months? I know you can't predict the future, but what do you see? What's your hunch?
It's funny. Right before this call, I was just on the call with Gary Keller, and Gary actually showed us a video with him interviewing Steve Murray, who's one of the most brightest consultants in America on the real estate, real trends. And, Gary asked him the question, what you just asked me. And I think those two's minds a lot better than mine. So
you can
I'll give you their answer.
All right. Sounds good.
And their answer is that they think 2021 is going to be a great year again. Maybe if not better, the same. Because new construction has really went berserk. Yeah. And especially a lot of parts of the country. The problem now is just lumber, right? Where you're going to get all the wood to build these new homes. So with that being said, we, the professionals, including me, I feel like we still are probably going to have a very good 2021.
That's good.
And, as a region, we broke records, August and July, we paid the agents more money than we ever paid ever.
Yeah. That's
and
awesome.
The contracts written, which is the future, 90 days, 120 days ahead have records. So
Good.
when you have that happening, we're going into the fourth quarter with some momentum.
Yeah.
So I think the market's going to really, we're going to go into the end of the year with a bang. And I think we might come out on the other side doing what we did. We were on record pace before COVID hit. If COVID didn't happen,
oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah,
we would have probably broke some records this year.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's amazing where I would have never thought we would have recovered this quickly and this much, and even going past the numbers that we had last year. It just blows my mind, but it's great. And all I can hope is that the economy keeps going and we get under control of the COVID situation and we can get back to some sort of normalcy. But I want to thank you for being on the show today, John. It means a lot to me, and I will definitely be reading your book to check it out and read the whole thing and really dig in. But thank you for being on the show.
Hey, and if anybody wants to check it out, go to leavingsixfigures.com, the number 6, and check it out. And if they're thinking about leaving a career that they're in now, it's a great read.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So thanks a lot, John. I appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
There you have it. That was John Clidy. He's got a book, Leaving Six Figures. It says dual career to full career. Very interesting. He started as a roofer as a kid and then moved his way up through, and now he's just doing great. He's at Keller Williams. He's the regional director there, writing books and just having a great time and changing lives. So that's all we got for today. Hopefully I'll see you again real soon. Are your kitchen and bathroom remodels a little overdue? Well, now's your chance to call First Response Contracting. John Sellers will take care of you. 484-256-7136. They do residential and commercial, and they're licensed and insured. Give them a call at 484-256-7136.